Addiction is a psychological condition that results in a constant desire to carry out a particular behavior. Most often, an addiction has negative effects that change how the brain functions due to persistent cravings and a lack of self-control. Despite the fact that most people identify addiction with drugs, it can also develop from regular activities and harmless indulgences. There are now much more cases of depression than there were 10 years ago because of the enormous growth in addiction incidents in the United States. Let us review the top 10 addictions in the United States. Number 10. The Internet. A day without getting into their computer or smartphone is difficult for the average individual to fathom because these technologies currently define our lives. Nowadays, a lot of our daily activities, from getting around conveniently to receiving medical care and ordering food, rely on the Internet. Although the advantages of the Internet are evident, we rarely think about the hazards of addiction that regular Internet use exposes us to. The Pew Research Center estimated that 77% of Americans use the Internet every day in 2021. Even though binging on TikTok videos and streaming movies is generally safe, some people's need to be online all the time interferes with their daily lives. Because of the Internet, some people skip out on social engagements, put their relationships at risk, and fail to maintain their cleanliness. When you put Internet browsing ahead of important facets of your life, such as your job and relationships, it develops into an addiction. Internet addiction is a catch-all phrase describing a variety of impulse control problems with a computer or smartphone. Online gaming addiction, internet compulsions, excessive information searching, and cyber relationship addiction are a few examples. Number 9. Food. Since it's impossible to stop eating, food is one of the most unexpected addictions somebody may have. But if you're having trouble understanding food addiction, all you need to do is glance at the US obesity numbers. According to certain statistics, at least 5% of Americans struggle with food addiction. In general, women are more prone to food addiction than men, with 7% and 3% global averages, respectively. Similar to drug addiction, eating disorders can cause cravings and tolerance. The obsessional drive to consume despite the consequences is a sign of cravings. Food addicts develop tolerance by needing more food to keep their dopamine levels at the same level. Although the exact reasons for food addiction are unknown, some research suggests that stress eating, brain chemistry, and heredity are among the most likely culprits. Number 8. Gambling. The accessibility of betting websites and apps on the Internet has further contributed to the prevalence of gambling. Gambling is acceptable and generally without issues. However, many people who have a problem with gambling are unable to admit it due to the social stigma and enjoyable nature of the activity. Only 20% of those who said they had a gambling addiction acknowledged that it might be a problem. According to recent studies, 6 million Americans are thought to have a gambling addiction. Sadly, many people might not see the warning signals until it is too late. Although there are no acute health hazards associated with a gambling addiction, it can lower your quality of life, increase the likelihood of substance dependence, and worsen depression. Gambling is also connected to greater interpersonal conflict and domestic violence. Children who are raised by parents who have gambling issues are more likely to experience drug misuse and mental health issues. As people regularly conduct fraud, forgery, stealing, and other types of theft to fund their gaming activities, gambling is also associated with higher crime rates. Number 7. Sex and pornography. Although the Internet could be the best innovation to date, it has brought with it a variety of addictions, including pornography. Some experts and therapists dispute the existence of sex and pornography addiction, saying it doesn't exist. It is challenging to identify when someone is experiencing an addiction to adult content due to the lack of consensus among experts on the defining characteristics that define sex and pornography addiction. However, it's important to remember that between 3% and 6% of Americans battle sex or porn addiction. Additionally, pornographic content accounts for around 35% of all Internet downloads. Many people who access and watch porn are not addicted. When someone feels an obsessional need to see pornographic content, which compels them to take unwise risks, addiction has already set in. Other indications of porn addiction include dissatisfaction with a sexual life that is otherwise healthy, relationship problems brought on by unhappiness with your spouse, and dangerous activities, such as watching porn videos at work. The availability of Internet access contributes in part to the prevalence of pornography and sex addiction. This raises the chance of exposing children and teenagers to material that could influence their development of negative ideas about sexual relations. Number 6. Heroin. Opioid poppy plant seed pods are used to make the narcotic known as heroin. Southeast and West Asia, Colombia, and Mexico are the principal growing regions for this plant. It appears as a white or black powder or as a gooey material described as black tar heroin. Although heroin is addictive, users occasionally combine it with cocaine to enhance its effects. Speedballing is the name of this method. This medication interacts with the pain, pleasure, and sleep-related brain receptors. By causing an intense rush of serotonin, it modifies these processes. The typical side effects of a heroin rush include a variety of emotions, dry mouth, and a warm sensation on the skin. Users may feel sick to their stomach, throw up, or endure severe itching after the initial sensation subsides. Depending on the dosage, prolonged mental function impairment might cause sluggish breathing and a slow heartbeat, which can occasionally be life-threatening. Heroin is particularly addictive in part because users build a tolerance to it quickly. You will require a greater dosage after using it consistently for a few weeks to keep the same level of intensity. The result is addiction. Addiction to heroin increases the chance of contracting infections like HIV, as well as heart and liver disorders, collapsed veins, and overdoses. It can be quite difficult to overcome a heroin addiction because some users continue to have strong cravings even years after quitting. Stress, other people, activities, and other things you might identify with the substance can all cause cravings. Number 5. Cocaine. After marijuana, cocaine is the second most often used illegal recreational drug in the United States. Cocaine remains one of the most misused substances today, having seen significant use in the U.S. starting in the middle of the 1980s and early 1990s. According to a study from the 2020 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, there were 1.9 million regular cocaine users, or 0.8% of the population. Only 25% of these reported cocaine users utilize crack, so the majority use cocaine in powder form. Cocaine is a highly addictive substance that can cause both physical and mental dependence. Additionally, it poses a number of health hazards, including hypertension, cardiovascular conditions, weight loss, mood disorders, strokes, and seizures. Despite its risk for addiction and the fact that it has limited medical applications, the Drug Enforcement Administration classifies cocaine as a Schedule II restricted substance. It is used in hospitals to boost important physiological processes like temperature, blood pressure, and heart rate. Number 4. Prescription drugs. In the recent 5 years compared to the previous 10 years, prescription drug abuse and addiction cases have significantly increased in the U.S. Because they are easily accessible, inexpensive, and widely believed to be less harmful to your health than illicit drugs, prescription drug addiction has increased dramatically over time. Unfortunately, abusing prescription medications has a number of long-term health effects that, if ignored, can swiftly progress to chronic conditions. For instance, heroin addiction is similar to opioid abuse, the most common prescription drug addiction. It may cause drowsiness, shallow breathing, nausea, and constipation. Stimulant side effects are comparable to cocaine withdrawal, including those caused by medications used to treat disorders like ADHD. They consist of a high body temperature, anxiety, losing weight, and irregular heartbeat. Prescription painkillers, stimulants like Ritalin, and sedatives used to treat anxiety and sleep disorders are the drugs with the highest rates of addiction. Number 3. Marijuana. In the United States, marijuana is commonly regarded as a recreational drug and is currently permitted in 21 states and Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, regular marijuana usage increases the risk of addiction and mental illnesses like schizophrenia and psychosis. Marijuana users believe that it helps them relax and be more creative. This is due to the fact that it has an illusionary effect on creativity and energy levels by affecting brain regions involved in attention, learning, coordination, and decision-making. In 2020, 42 million Americans, or around 18% of the population, admitted to regularly using marijuana. The third highest addiction in the United States, according to research, is marijuana misuse, which affects 3 out of every 10 frequent users. Despite the intense political debate surrounding marijuana's effects and safety, research shows that it can be addictive and cause unpleasant withdrawal symptoms when used repeatedly. Although proponents may contend that marijuana's medical advantages vastly exceed its drawbacks, this isn't always the case. According to studies, teens who start smoking marijuana before they turn 18 are more likely to become dependent on it and abuse it. Additionally, there are a number of health hazards associated with marijuana usage during pregnancy or breastfeeding. Make sure you are informed on marijuana abuse and its risks before succumbing to the prevailing weed culture. Number 2. Alcohol. Alcoholism has long been underrated despite the serious repercussions it may have. This is so because alcohol is a drug that is both legal and acceptable in society. These facts make it more difficult to spot when someone is giving into addiction before realizing it is too late. There are numerous aspects of alcohol that you might not be aware of. First, as of 2019, at least 26% of American adults were said to regularly engage in binge drinking. Of course, many drinkers, even those who do so frequently, are unlikely to experience problems with alcoholism. But a lot of this depends on how well they stick to daily restrictions. Alcoholism frequently starts as a social habit that isn't harmful but develops into a full-blown dependence that can cause major health problems including depression. For instance, the majority of normal beverage portions in bars and restaurants contain more alcohol than a usual drink. Alcoholism and alcohol abuse are two additional facts about alcohol that are frequently confused. Alcoholism is a neurological alteration that results in an ongoing addiction to alcohol. Even when you didn't mean to drink, alcoholism will cause you to do so. Contrarily, alcohol abuse refers to the use of alcohol in a way that results in carelessness and reckless behavior, such as driving while intoxicated or skipping work. Alcoholism is brought on by alcohol abuse. Number 1. Nicotine. In America, there are about 30 million people who are dependent on nicotine products including cigarettes, cigars, patches, nicotine gums, or snuff. According to estimates, children as young as 13 are dependent on nicotine, making it the most abused substance in the US. Many nicotine addicts incorrectly believe that smoking cigarettes or using other nicotine products makes them feel more relaxed. Nothing is falser than this. According to recent studies, smoking increases stress levels. Users get irritable and anxious as the effects of nicotine use fade, and they begin to seek another dose. The startling fact is that despite the well-publicized negative effects of nicotine use, there has been no appreciable decline in nicotine usage in the United States in recent years. Despite evidence indicating those who use nicotine die 10 to 13 years sooner than those who don't, many people continue to use it, presumably because nicotine is one of the most addictive substances. It's important to remember that the majority of kids who start smoking or using another kind of nicotine do so for life. The fact that many nicotine users turn to harmful substitutes like e-cigarettes or cigars in the mistaken belief that they are healthy makes nicotine even more deadly. One would think that the prospect of stained teeth, red gums, and bad breath would assist individuals to avoid using nicotine in this day and age where health and appearance are prioritized by most, but it appears that health campaigns need to adopt a different strategy. So, guys, that was it for this video. What did you think about the video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you are new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.